All rise.
I want viewers watching my show to believe in themselves.
Judge Hatchett is compelling.
I was not the first one to throw a walk.
Let me just tell you what you just said.
Compassionate.
I really enjoy being a judge. Now I am touching people who I will never know I touched.
She's powerful.
You should have never let them walk out of your life when she was 3.
And she's on the bench.
Don't get me preaching up in here today.
Right.
You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. Sarah Ellis is suing Tanya September in the amount of $1,500. Ms. Ellis claims she hired her mother to be her manager and says her recent book signing was a disaster because the defendant dropped the ball.
All right, Sarah, you're in court today suing your mother.
Yes, I am.
It's always sad. I mean, how many times have you heard me say this? To see family members on opposite sides of my courtroom. You're suing her for some $1,500 because you say that she was your manager.
Yes.
And that she failed to do some things that were important to you. Mm-hmm. So talk to me. What is going on and why is it necessary for you to sue your mother?
Well, Your Honor, honestly, I'm here today because I hired my mother as my manager, giving her one too many chances, to be completely honest.
And why did you need a manager?
I'm a social media influencer, so I have a lot of followers, and I needed someone to help me take care of my smaller details while I focused on like the big picture. I'm also an author, so on my channel, I'm basically a baker, so I bake all kinds of things like chocolate lava cake with the chocolate coming out,
Whoa.
you know, chocolate chip cookies with like Oreos and brownies inside of them. So I decided to create a cookbook for my followers, so it's basically me with them in their kitchen.
What's your relationship been like with your mother? Because I gather from the complaint that it has been rocky.
It's been very rocky. Ever since I was younger, my mom had a very strong drug addiction, and she was my manager when I was a child actress, and she wasn't very good at her job because, you know, she was high most of the time. So we've always had a rough relationship because she always chose something over me.
Hi, Miss September, what happened? How would you describe your relationship with your daughter? I don't mean now, I mean over the course of her life.
Well, Your Honor, my relationship with my daughter has never been what I wanted it to be. Shortly after she was born, I became addicted to painkillers. I couldn't even breastfeed her because it would have transferred through the milk. Right. And my mother wound up taking care of her for many years until I finally could get the proper kind of care. But I saw it as a chance for my daughter and I to mend our relationship and put things behind us and move forward. I'm very good at what I do, which is why she contacted me. I didn't contact her, she contacted me because she heard of me through another social influencer.
So stop right there. So there was a time when your grandmother had to step in and was really your surrogate mother because of your mother's addiction. And how long did this go on, Miss September? How long was she in the care of your mother?
She was with my mother from the time she was probably about 8 or 9 years old until she was 18.
So for a very long time.
Very long time. I mean, I would appear and disappear and appear and disappear. I'm sure that's the way it looked to her because of my addiction, but I never stopped loving her. And I never stopped wanting to do better so that I could do for her.
So was there a point clearly that you all were able to reconcile this relationship, Sarah?
Honestly, not really. When I was 13, I was like, I really don't want anything to do with her, honestly. So I decided that I was just gonna venture off on my own. So I didn't really talk to her. My grandma would always try to get me to talk to her, but I chose not to.
And you said that there was a time when you were younger when she was your manager because you were a child actress.
Yes.
And what happened during that time?
During that time, I was doing pretty well as a child actress, actually. She was able to book me a lot of gigs, but when she really started getting into her addiction, she would leave me at auditions and leave me at other places so that she could go fill her addiction.
Drug addiction is a horrible, horrible situation. And you know I'm not new to this. I've been on the bench for many, many years, and I've seen so many families who have been torn apart because of drug addiction. And I have said to a lot of parents who have come into my courtroom that you have to look at your drug addiction like someone coming in and robbing you of this precious gift in your life. And in your situation, really causing a divide between you and your daughter.
Right.
And it takes a lot. It takes a lot to really mend those relationships. So, I mean, we're going to get to the $1,500, but this is bigger than the $1,500 that we're in court about today. It takes a lot to mend those relationships, and it has to do a lot with trust, to really restore that trust. And so, you know, the fact that she is back in your life, and she says that you reached out to her, sounds to me that there is some room for there to be some mending here. Is there?
There is room. Honestly, you know, like, no matter what happened, I still love you so much.
Coming up on The Verdict with Judge Hatchett.
Because she didn't do her job, I got to the book signing. There were literally no books. I looked like Boo Boo the Fool out there, honestly.
The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Sarah Ellis, who is suing her mother, Tanya September, for $1,500.
So now you have decided, okay, I am going to reach out to my mother. She says that you reached out to her because she is really good at what she does.
Yes.
And that you all then had this agreement. And what was the working agreement, Ms. September, that you had with your daughter?
We had a contract.
Okay.
And I have that with me.
All right.
And we agreed on certain things. I agreed to, she's a wonderful baker. She's extremely creative. And I got her in cook-offs and community shows and this and that.
Good. Is that true?
It is true.
Oh, good. All right. So we're making progress here.
And but it was almost as if it was never enough.
Well, again,
and I understand part of that
trust.
Intellectually, but in my heart, I can't deal with it.
I get it. I get it. I get it. Because in your mind, you're saying, but I'm trying. And the truth is that you can't go back and undo those 10 years. You can't. That she was without you and that you were addicted to drugs. And so all we can do is, all we can be responsible for is right now, and to try to plan for tomorrow and the next tomorrows and the next tomorrows, because this relationship that has been broken is critically important that we put it back together. I'm going to reel on the money. I'm going to reel on the money, but y'all know me. I got to fix this first. I got to fix this first, right? So now, you're getting her these opportunities. What happened with this book signing that you talk about in this complaint? What happened?
So basically, like she mentioned, she was doing really well before, so I asked her if she wanted to take care of my book signing because I had a lot of things to take care of, so she took care of the logistics.
So that we're clear, this is the new book that you have written because you're a baker.
Yes.
I tell you, let me tell you, to digress for a second, I am so impressed. I cannot cook at all. And I am so glad that neither of my sons is here, because they would tell you that I burned Jell-O. I mean, how do you burn Jell-O, right? And it's I'm embarrassed to tell you, it's really true. You know, I'm fixing Jell-O. You boil the water. I put the Jell-O in, and I forgot about it, and I came back, and there's this burnt. I mean, who burns Jell-O, right? So I am really impressed. So now we got this book signing, and what went wrong?
So I started noticing that she was kind of slacking on her duties. Well,
Like how so?
Well, my boyfriend said, you know, she was late to hire the photographer. She was late to call the venue to see if they were available to help us out and host the book signing. And she was a little late trying to get the publisher to get the books.
Okay, so what happened with this book signing, Ms. September? Work with me. Help me understand.
The book publisher and the bookstore owner were not communicating. Somehow they got their wires crossed, because on the day that we had the book signing, there were 3 other book authors there that day with their books. I mean, it doesn't sound like it should happen, but it did happen that way.
No, I get it. I'm an author. I have published a couple of different books, and I've had book signings all over the country, so I understand the logistics can get a little crazy. So on the day of the book signing, what happened?
Well, the books weren't there.
Okay, and then what do we do?
I went into overdrive and ran down to Kinko's and got some sheets printed where people could go online and order the book, because I was trying to salvage the situation.
That's smart.
But the other thing that plays into this, Your Honor, is the influence that she has from this boyfriend who had made it clear that he has no confidence in me at all.
I can't believe you really just brought him up.
Why wouldn't I bring him up? Why
now, what's going on with the, wait a minute, I didn't know about the boyfriend. What's going on with the boyfriend?
My boyfriend, he and I have been together for a couple of years now, and he is very supportive of everything that I do. He does give opinions about things that I choose to do career-wise. And when I hired my mother again, you know, he knows about our past, and
he was opposed to it. Be honest. Be honest.
He was opposed to it. He was like, I'm going to keep an extra eye on her. So he was always checking in, making sure that she was doing what she was doing. And when she wasn't, he would always tell me.
Or when he thought I wasn't.
Or when he thought you weren't.
I mean, this is a 2-year relationship with no solid commitment. I don't know how to interpret that.
He's given me a bit more commitment than you have,
well,
to be completely honest.
Right now it seems that way. Right now it seems that way.
Oh, mercy. So now we've got the strained relationship with your mother. We have the boyfriend in the picture who doesn't trust the mother. There are trust issues between the two of you. We've got work to do. So why are you suing specifically for $1,500?
I'm suing because I got an advancement from the publisher. They gave me $15,000, and in our contract for the specific book signing, she would get 10% of what I made.
All right.
And because she didn't do her job, I got to the book signing. There were literally no books. I was so embarrassed in front of the other influencers and in front of my 200 fans that came to support me. I looked like Boo Boo the Fool out there, honestly. And she didn't fulfill her task. She should have figured it out and gotten the books to my book signing.
Did you call Miss September and before the date of the book signing to say, I'm just confirming that the books are here?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
Because she had overloaded with me with so many things. I had talked to the publisher the week before. They assured me everything was okay. She had me running around doing all the things that a personal assistant should do. I had sent her numerous text messages saying, I can't do this and everything else too.
It's part of your job.
So what's the status of your relationship now? After this book signing went to way off the rails, what happened?
I fired her.
You fired her?
I fired her because not only did the book signing go disastrous, I also did not make what I was projected to make. I have the copy with me too.
Let me see that.
Coming up.
What I'm more concerned about right now is what happens with the two of you, because I'm going to rule on the money. What's going to happen with the two of you?
I want my daughter back.
Network featuring dynamic judges and live legal programming.
Well, we're not at your school, we're in my courtroom.
Unique court shows.
Where is any information about the company?
Live legal news.
That's what you should have done.
And a commitment to justice.
Either you tried or you did it.
The next generation of court programming in one dynamic network. Justice Central. You're watching Justice Central. Stay tuned. You're watching Justice Central. Coming up at 10:30, watch America's Court with Judge Ross. Then catch a double dose of We the People, followed by Supreme Justice with Judge Karen at noon. The verdict is in, right here on Justice Central. You're watching Justice Central. You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Sarah Ellis, who is suing her mother, Tanya September, for $1,500.
So you sold less books than you had anticipated?
Yes, significantly less books.
So there were 200 people there at the book signing. They were expecting to have books. Your mother rushes off to get some forms printed up to order books.
Yes.
And people wanted the books right then, and so they didn't buy the books. Is that basically what you're saying?
That's basically what happened.
Oh, my. Miss September, what do you say about that?
Well, her online sales have increased.
After I fired you.
Well, I have to attribute that to the fact that I was smart enough to go down to Kinko's and have those forms made where they could go online
let's
to order
talk
the
about
books.
this. I've actually been in this exact same situation where I showed up at a major book signing in a city, actually I was in New York, and the books didn't come, right? And I was in a situation where people were having to order books through the forms, and it was actually, they didn't ship, but they shipped to the wrong bookstore. They shipped to another bookstore where I was having book signing, so it was a big mess, right? So I understand that this can happen. What I'm more concerned about right now is what happens with the two of you, because I'm going to rule on the money. What's going to happen with the two of you? What's going to happen?
I want my daughter back.
So is there any way, Sarah, that this relationship can be salvaged? I mean, honestly, come on. Talk to me.
Honestly, I really don't know at this point. I still feel like I don't know if I can trust you. You really let me down this time.
Coming up,
What are you prepared to do today to try to make this relationship work? I'm not talking about the $1,500 right now. I'm talking about a mother and a daughter.
The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Sarah Ellis, who is suing her mother, Tanya September, for $1,500.
Let's talk about this, because you know we've got a big divide here. We've got years and years and years of mistrust and her feeling abandoned. And you know, I mean, you understand what we're dealing with. What are you prepared to do today to try to make this relationship work? I'm not talking about the $1,500 right now. I'm talking about a mother and a daughter.
I would like for her to go to Santa Barbara with me for the weekend.
Woo.
Weekend?
Oh my. Girl,
Just
if
the
you don't
just
go,
the two
if you
of
don't
us.
go, I might go. I was joking. I was a joke.
We used to do that when I was younger, and it was really fun.
Come on, work with me. She says, I'd like for you to go to Santa Barbara.
And I'll pay for everything.
And she will pay for everything. Come on.
You promise?
Yes, I promise.
I don't
You
know.
said that you used to go when you were a child, right? I'm not asking you to move mountains today. I'm just asking you to take this step, you know, to try to reach back to her. She's reaching out to you. I just need you to try to reach back to her.
Yeah.
All right? You all call me next week after you get back?
Yes.
And tell me
we'll
what
send you a
happened?
selfie.
Yeah.
You'll send me a selfie?
Judge Hatchett's verdict when we return.
And the fact that she had this advance from the publisher, you were entitled to 10% of that. I mean, let's just split the difference here. Just give her $750 back. She's going to pay for the weekend. All right? Does that work?
That's fair.
That's fair?
That's fair.
I'm not asking you all to get back into business. That's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is for you all to work on your relationship as a mother and a daughter, right? Am I asking too much for a hug?
No.
All right, well, let's see if we can figure this out. All right. All right, for the reasons I've discussed, we're going to do a judgment for your daughter in the amount of $750. I expect a selfie. I expect a report on how the weekend goes. This is just a beginning, but I want you to think of it as a beginning that lasts for a lifetime.
I just want to listen.
Oh,
I
that's
just wanna
important.
listen.
And you have to listen with your heart and your ears and your eyes, you know? Right? And I want you to be open to the possibility. And I want you to be honest about how you're feeling. All right? You need a hug?
I need a hug.
Do you need a hug, Miss September?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Nothing further, judgment for the plaintiff for $750. But this is far more important than $750. I'm really, really pulling for you. Nothing further, we'll stand adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Hatchett has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $750.
Mom, I miss having you in my life. I'm really excited for this weekend.
I love you too, sweetheart.